Guys, I really don't want to be political, but this isn't really political. This 15 bucks an hour minimum wage, nobody's really thinking about the whole thing. I just don't understand that. I really don't. Um, it's just I don't even know where I don't even know where to go with it. I don't even know where to start. Um, and the cancel culture out there, man, if they get wind of that I did this, I'm gonna have the most viewers I've ever had because the cancel culture is gonna come support me um, by watching the video. Uh, this $15 an hour thing, I happened to read something on Facebook. Of course, it was on Facebook, so it's got to be true. Um, Actually, it wasn't that it was on Facebook that made it true. It's the whole $15 an hour debate. You got to pay people more money. You got to give them a living wage, or they'll never get out of poverty. Blah 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 blah. The problem is where does the $15 an hour come? This article was in the New York Times, which just reports the news. They don't lean left or right. Ha ha, that's a joke, guys. So don't spam me with your comments about that. Um, it talked about a woman with a restaurant that now has two restaurants in Fresno, California, which is not a coastal town. It's not LA. It's not San Francisco. It's not where all these overrun prices are. But they're saying, how do you do it? They're saying that it may be the laboratory for $15 an hour minimum wage. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, other than my VAs, I pay over $15 an hour. So, how's it going to affect my business? Let's say they put in the $15 an hour minimum wage. How does that affect my business? Well, here's how it affects my business, and people don't think about the bigger scale of things. If you buy things at Goodwill where they pay $6 an hour, $8 an hour, or whatever they're paying, they get some assistance because they use people that are challenged, both physically and mentally. They get to pay them less money. I don't understand that. But those wages will have to go up. If those wages go up, do you not think the prices will go up in that store to cover those wages? Do you think that 15 bucks an hour just magically appears out of a company? Listen, after a pandemic, the last thing you want to hear about is them doubling the minimum wage. Now they're saying they're going to do it by 2025, which is 4.5 years from now or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But you have to look at the reality of it. Where does it end? Because I'm a middleman. I buy stuff and I sell stuff. I'm the middle. So the guy before I buy it is going to raise his prices because he has more labor than I probably have in packaging and manufacturing and all that. So where does it stop? How do you get through it? As a business owner, have you even considered what you're going to do when minimum wage goes to $15 an hour. If you're known for having a sweatshop right now, you know, if you're the guy in town that demands 61 minutes out of every hour of work somebody puts in, and you're paying your employee $9 an hour, what are you going to do when it goes to $15 an hour? If you're already running a streamlined machine, there's only a few ways to go. You can go overseas for labor, or you can go into automation. What you're going to do is you're going to find that you're going to force companies to streamline more of their processes, and you're going to see the development of automation more and more. Here's the perfect example. I take 3 items and I put them together in a package, and my employee puts 3 of them together in a package, and they stick it in a bag, and then they close the bag and they put a label on that bag. There are machines out there that I can buy. I can buy a machine that will cut that labor down to having an employee put 3 items together on a circle. That machine is not that expensive when I look at the amount of labor that it will save me, especially at $15 an hour. You're going to have a lot of self-checkouts. You're going to have computers taking your order. I actually like the computer taking my order because I don't like pickles, and every frickin' hamburger joint puts those nasty things on my burger, and then I have to pick them off, and I still get the pickle juice in my bread, which I can't stand. So on a computer screen, it's much easier to say no pickles, and although that they don't listen, I have much better luck of not having pickles on my sandwich than telling the cashier no pickles, because they're too damn frickin' lazy at $15 an hour to hit the key that says no pickles. Okay, that's just a pet peeve of mine, guys. So I didn't like the computers because I was like, oh, they're taking jobs. Now there's places like Walmart. Let's talk about Walmart for a minute. Everybody complains about their cashiers. You know, that they never have enough cashiers. They take those cashiers, just so you don't think that they're out of work. They've taken those cashiers and put them in the back warehouse where they're now the pickers for Walmart.com, where you do the pickup. They're also going to be the pickers when they start doing local shipping from the store, or as they start to do local shipping. But back to me. I can buy a machine that will shrink wrap and label my products for me under 50 grand. If you figure the cost of your labor, a labor hour at $15 an hour, and I don't pay $15 an hour, I pay over $15 an hour. At $15 an hour, it's only going to take me about a year and a half to pay for that machine. Going to be hard not looking at that machine to cut labor cost. I'd prefer the higher labor because I am in a depressed area of Tucson with my warehouse, so I'd prefer the higher labor and help somebody. I mean, I am about helping people, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. The other thing is if you're not a sweatshop already, you're going to have to become a sweatshop. You're going to have to squeeze as much as you possibly can out of a labor hour so that you're able to stay in business. You know, in the last 4 years, I am the only one in my company that has not gotten a raise. Have not taken a raise in my paycheck in 4 years. Now I have cut some of my labor, but that was at their own hand, not mine. When the pandemic hit, I had to streamline, and one in particular was getting $300 a week in unemployment and $600 in government money. And they were like, I make more money doing that, sitting at home watching TV than you're paying me. And okay, that may be the case, but what happens when both of those run out? You're going to be without a job. Listen, I understand what minimum wage is for, okay? It's supposed to be a starting point. It's so that some people don't take advantage of uneducated employees or the people that are down and out. But if you want more than $15 an hour, show me why you're worth more than $15 an hour. The market drives prices, guys. And I hate to tell you, because I bought the machine, if I buy the machine, I got to make payments on it, so my monthly bill's going to go up. I'm going to have to raise prices to cover the cost of that machine, and eventually I'll see the savings at the other end because I raised the prices to pay for the stuff. When that machine's paid for, I'm not lowering the prices. That's like tolls. You ever hear the tolls? We're only going to have a toll on this bridge until it's paid for. 150 years later, the bridge is about to fall into the frickin' river, and they're still charging tolls. You have to see the big picture with this labor thing. And I'm going to tell you now, I am not going to make this political, but with the government in place that's in place now, you will see $15 an hour. They have the capability to pass the laws for a higher minimum wage. My suggestion is, instead of waiting until it happens, is to be proactive now. Be proactive now. Start looking at streamlining your labor force if you have labor. A lot of people don't have labor. What I do see happening is some gig economies. I see some room for places like Upwork, Fiverr, where you have to be talented to get a job, and you're getting a job for a very short period of time. I also see the quality of work going to go down. And that's going to be for cost-cutting purposes. I see where image quality may drop a little, so that people go, oh, wait a minute, it's not so smart. You guys see me and hear me okay? I just got a warning that my internet's a little slow today, and I'm not sure what that is. I know there's storms in the area. I got a electronic notice saying that they're standing by in case the internet goes down. But this wage thing is not going away. So if you have labor, you need to start looking at it now. If you don't have labor, you need to start looking at growth of your company and will you use labor and how will you use labor? I know some people are going, well, maybe I'll hire a VA. If the American worker goes up, if the cost of the American worker goes up, I guarantee overseas labor is going to say, well, the Americans got more, we need more. The Americans are no better than we are. They may not get $15 an hour, but I guarantee the cost of overseas labor goes up. I already see it. I see the cost of overseas labor going up. I also see where you're going to specialize in your job skill, and you may be hired out from a company to other companies where your job skill is going to be, I'm not going to need you 40 hours. So instead of where I used to hire you full time and put you in the several places, you're going to have to be specialized in a task. And that task is going to be very repetitive. And that's what you're going to do over and over and over again. And you may do it for several companies, kind of like a gig thing. Hey, John, I got work today. I got 4 hours of work, $15 an hour. You want it? It's not going to be 40 hours. Hey, I was able to scrape up 22 hours of work for you this week. You're going to find out that this is going to bite a lot of people in the ass. And what I find so surprising is how many people that are self-made think $15 is a great idea. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs was a big, minimum wage guy. Some of these big companies think it's a great idea to go to $15 an hour. Amazon already pays $15 an hour. I believe Walmart is pretty close. I know they're well over minimum wage. Do you think that by going to $15 an hour, the guy that right now is making $16 or $17 an hour is going to feel appreciated when the guy that first walks in the door is going to be making $15 an hour that you have to train? This is going to cause a ripple effect through an economy that's already unstable. I know you all think it's a great economy right now, but I'm telling you, this economy is unstable, and it's just going to take a little huffing and puffing from the big bad wolf, and it's all going to come down. I don't know. I don't know. I read that article and it just went, man, I can't even believe that we got to have this discussion. If you don't start thinking about it, it's going to sneak up on you and bite you. I know people are complaining right now about what's eBay called their payment system? Managed payments, I think. There's people screaming about managed payments. There's people screaming about all the changes on Amazon. Those changes were discussed before they were put into place. Well, not always on Amazon, but the managed payment thing on eBay has been talked about for years. I don't know what the problem is. Were you not prepared? Did you have your head buried in the sand? Maybe you were out there going, I need $15 an hour. I have no problems paying somebody $15 an hour that's worth $15 an hour. Sweeping the floor is not $15 an hour work. It's a high school kid that can work a couple hours after school that makes a few bucks to take his girlfriend to the movies. It's his training ground, or their training ground, so I'm politically correct. It's their training ground to be able to go out into the workforce. I worked at Walmart for almost 17 years before I call it quits. And if they come, people coming in at $15 up, I'd be pissed. You're right. I would understand that. But listen, minimum wage was meant for the kids, the high school kids. It was meant for the stay-at-home moms that wanted to get out a few hours. It was an entry-level position. It was never meant to support a family. It was never meant to support a family. Never was. You were supposed to go out and get a job skill and work your way up. Migrant farm workers have always been migrant farm workers. That is their choice. And you can't tell me, you're not going to tell me that because of minimum wage, somebody's life is going to be better. What's going to get somebody out of poverty is their decision to no longer be in poverty. And that they're going to do whatever it takes to get out of poverty. They may give up their iPhone for an old flip phone that they buy at Walmart for $50. They're going to be willing to work 60 hours a week. They're going to put in the effort to get out of poverty. It's not going to be, do you think we'd see more contract jobs? Absolutely. Where else can you go? Where else can you go but to contract labor at these rates? At $15 an hour, I mean, even somebody like Pat Dees could, I'm breaking your chops, Pat. $15 an hour is just, I don't know. What I see, Arthur, is a whole shift in how American labor is used. You already have a whole massive amount of people that will not pay for the American labor. I used to sell flags, American-made flags. Very expensive compared to a Chinese flag. Very expensive compared to a Chinese flag. You can buy a nylon sewn Chinese flag at cost for probably $3.50. American made, you're probably looking at $12 or $13. And it's all in labor. The material's exactly the same. If China would have better dye, you'd almost not be able to tell the difference between an American made and a Chinese made. In fact, the Chinese made have actually gotten a little better because to cut down on cost, they stopped using brass grommets, where you hook the flag. They've gone to a rope header system with plastic D-rings at the end of that rope, and it saves them money over the brass. But what it does is it actually makes their flag stronger to withstand the wind and fraying at the end. Big, important thing there, guys. So to profit with American labor, prices are going to have to rise, which makes the minimum wage thing, it's the chicken or the egg, which came first. As the prices go up, minimum wage no longer reflects a living wage because the cost of living just went skyrocketing because you increased your labor by a skyrocketing amount. It's just not going to work. You have to, Arthur's question was contract labor. You're going to find out that jobs are streamlined. For example, right now, I have my guys in the warehouse work 40 hours. If there's only 35 hours of work, I still pay them 40 hours. The first thing I'm buying, if they pass $15 an hour, is a time clock. They will punch in, they will punch out, they will be paid for the minutes they work. We will have to go to some kind of Brian Dobbs says the elite want the higher minimum wage to limit the ability to come up and challenge them as a new company. I could see that to a point too. But what's going to happen is that labor is going to become very regulated within the company. There's going to be no your girlfriend texts you and you take the phone out and you answer her. And that does happen in my warehouse, and I'm okay with it as long as production is, if the work gets done at the end of the week, I'm fine. So if they take a 30-minute break instead of a 15-minute break, but they come in and they hustle a little harder to get the work done, I don't care that they took 30 minutes. If they take a 2-hour lunch because they have to get their vehicle registered, I don't care. They still get paid for their 40 hours as long as the work gets done. What's going to happen is they go to $15 an hour. I'm going to have to start caring. I'm going to have to start making sure that my business is as streamlined as possible so that I can compete across international borders. I'm going to have to be competitive with all these other countries. You're going to see a lot of labor. Remember when the call centers went overseas, we all flipped out? Oh, I can't get a freaking person that speaks English on the phone. Now, everybody outsources their customer service. How about when you used to call a business and they would say, "Thank you for calling Harley Davidson. This is John speaking. How may I direct your call?" Now I got to sit there and listen to, if you speak Mexican, press 2. If you speak Chinese, press 3. If you're a tax-paying American, please hold on while we ramble on through all the different nationalities so that we're politically correct and the cancel culture doesn't come after us. And go, you have to go through a whole series. The best is when you call an insurance company, they ask for all your personal information, that you type it into the phone. And then the person that finally gets on the phone, they get a screen that pops up on their computer, and all that information you put in isn't there. It doesn't get pushed. They can't find the account. Well, I gave you my phone number, and the computer told me they matched my account to my phone number. Why can't I push that information to somebody's computer screen? But hey, who am I? I'm just a big old fat biker that has no idea what I'm talking about. But I'm telling you now, this $15 an hour thing is going to be worse than the pandemic to some businesses, and to some businesses that aren't ready for it. People that work for themselves, that they don't have labor and that kind of stuff, are going to get a culture shock when they realize, because a lot of people go, I don't have to worry about $15 an hour. It's just me and my wife. Okay. But everything that you use in your business will be affected by the $15 an hour, whether you think it or not. Anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents on the whole $15 an hour thing. I don't like to be political, but I got up this morning without a title for the show. Lori and I were out late last night. We had a good time. So the show was a little late. Remember, for those that don't know, the show is Monday through Friday now. I'm taking weekends off. Guys, remember, God loves you. I'm trying. I got to tackle that beast back there today again. My fat ass has got to get on there and pedal. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I could use some subscribers. I'm losing some recently. I guess people don't like what I'm talking about. If you're subscribed, hit the thumbs up, man. YouTube algorithm likes it. So remember, I'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy your coffee and get off your